Hello, in this video we're looking at the basics of the switch statement, how it is used and its advantages and disadvantages. Okay, and now as per usual I am going to use an example of code to highlight the main points. Okay, so first things first is what I've got here in the class is basically char letter is equal to I. Okay, char declared and initialized with a value of I. Okay, but you can see here that I've got an if, else if, else if, else if, else. Now, this is one way of testing out the value of that letter, okay, of that variable called letter. Now, yes, I know some people will point out that uppercase and lowercase, but let's just assume that everything is lowercase for the moment. So, if I have this here, it will evaluate that letter, obviously, if it's still alphabetic. So if I run that there, giving it a few seconds to run because this is the first time it is running, we should see that I is a vowel. Okay, notice in the behavior here that we're testing for, and as we can see there, I is a vowel. Obviously not great grammar here, but we've got here if letter is equal to A, print out A as a vowel, and you can see all these else ifs down here are associated within the if. So if it's not the first one, it must be this. If it's not the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, all the way down, it will work down. And also too, you've got the else. So obviously, if it's not in this case, if it's not a vowel, which we will test out here, B, and if I run this, just take a couple of seconds, we should see B is not a vowel, which we do. Now the point of showing this, and you're probably asking yourself, hang on a second, isn't this meant to be about the switch statement? It is, but this is nearly equivalent code of if the switch statement never existed. Something like an if, else if, else if, else if, else if, all the way down, and then one case covering the else. In other words, the default case, for want of a better word. So what I intend to do is actually not get rid of this program, but I'm actually going to comment out this program and write a similar switch statement above that. Okay, so actually to comment out code quickly, if you ever want to comment out code quickly, is highlight the code and click on comment within NetBeans. What that allows you to do is just make code ineffective, and it won't affect the running of the code. So to show that similar decision construct using the switch statement, it goes as follows. Number one, it is the switch keyword. Number two, the round brackets. What is in those round brackets is the name of the variable that you are testing. Okay, now note there is no test, and this is actually one of the key points about switch statements. You don't actually test whether it's greater than or equal to or whatever. What it does in a switch statement, it interprets its value, and then it will apply that within these brackets here. Now, what I mean by that is that what you have are specific cases. So, what the point of that is as follows. I'll just do this now. It's just a few seconds. Just is equal to case E. Now we'll just take the first case up there. Okay, and this is miles away from being finished. Case A is basically saying that if A is the value of letter, go into here. Okay, and all I'm just going to do here is this. Sorry, our cap locks was just on. Right, here's the key important points here. Is that case A is basically saying is that If the variable letter is A, we will go into here and we will do this, whatever is on line 99. Okay. The importance of the keyword break here at this point in time then is that once we hit this break, we go outside of the switch altogether. I'll just mark that in the switch. So basically what we need to do is that we need to cater in a case, and I'm doing a tiny bit of a cheat here. We need to put in a case for each one of our vowels. And I'm just cheating a tiny bit here. So nearly there now at this point in time. Right, just do a tiny bit of formatting, right click and click on format, and it cleans up the code for you. Now what we can see here is that we've got case A, E, I, O and U. So basically we are taking care of the vowels. But we haven't got anything indicator for, obviously, if it's not a vowel, which I'll just prove here. We should actually see nothing being printed out here, which we don't. If we look down in our else statement, sorry, the if statement, we actually had an else case down here that basically catered for, hang on, if the letter is not a vowel, what do we do? What we have in the switch statement is known as the default case. Default. In other words, if it does not match any of the specific cases, it will then go and execute this default. Okay? And I'll just not a vowel. Okay? Now, so what we should see here is that when we run this, char letter B, and it should go in and it will evaluate how it actually, a switch actually works. As it goes in, it takes the value of the variable. Okay, in this case it's just called letter. It goes in and it finds the relevant case, and then it keeps on going. So in this case it will find the relevant case, so it's neither A, E, I, O or U. It will just go to the default case. Now I don't need to put break at the end of this one because it's obviously at the end. So if I run this, you can see B is not a vowel. So if I change this, A is a vowel. Now the other point about this is as follows, is that the positioning of the brakes is important. Okay, I'll just explain it here by an example. I'm actually just going to make one change here and make that pronounced. Okay, those two printouts very, very pronounced. So one printout will have a series of plus signs, one series will have a plus and minus, or a series of minus signs. And I'm just going to comment out the break between case A and case E. Okay, so if I run that, what we should see ideally is just that A is a vowel and only hit this case. But what will happen is that if you do not have a break between cases, it's what's known as fall through. In other words, it will keep on going and it doesn't even evaluate. I'll explain later what actually happens, but it keeps on going until it hits the actual next break and then breaks out of the switch. So I'll just run this, and what we should actually see is two printouts, obviously A and the A case and obviously the E case. Okay, I'll just to reiterate that point. And if I run that code, you can see down here, A is a vowel, E is a vowel. Okay, I'll just bring that up a tiny bit there. A is a vowel, E is a vowel. Okay, so the positioning of the break is important, but also its use. There are cases when you may not need a break at all. In other words, you want fall through to happen. But for the moment, I would suggest getting the basics of the switch statement working. And what we will do in a later video is go through that notion of fall through and actually see it more applicable. Okay, so just do one more case here, and I'll just do oh. I've changed the break and so forth like that and everything, so we should just see O is a vowel. Okay, and there we see it. O is a vowel. Okay, now one last thing, does the positioning of the default statement actually matter? It doesn't, because the behavior of a switch statement is different to that of the behavior of an if statement in the means of evaluation. What happens with an if statement is that it goes from the very top to the very bottom, and once it hits the most applicable case, it will go in there, it will run whatever one, and then go out of the entire if statement. However, in a switch statement, the most applicable case will be found. Then, once that is done, the evaluation part is over. Once the most applicable case is found, it will keep on going all the way through that switch statement until it hits the statement break. In other words, this in this case here on line 20, because it's case O, but it will keep on going until it doesn't, until it is hits the next keyword break. Okay, so what I will do in the next video is go through the intricacies of both the if and the switch and look at the notion of nesting. Okay, so what I would suggest is look at some simple examples of the switch, and more so keep on practicing your own code. It is the only way that you will learn. Okay, thank you, and talk to you in the next video.